The Dice Tower, Episode 2, originally aired May 11th, 2005.
Welcome to The Dice Tower, Episode number 2. This is part of our Classic series, in which we look back at older episodes of The Dice Tower with better sound quality and comments. We'd like to welcome Days of Wonder as the very first sponsor of the Dice Tower podcast. Days of Wonder has brought us all some of our favorite board games, such as Ticket to Ride, Battle Lore, Memoir 44, Shadows over Camelot, and Pirates Cove. To learn more about any of their excellent games, visit them at www.daysofwonder.com. And now, here's your host, Tom Vassell.
Alrighty, well, welcome to episode number 2. We're certainly glad to have you with us today. What we're going to be listening to today is episode 2 of The Dice Tower. Now, this was still back when we were first starting recording, and there was a really bad background hum that I've tried to eliminate with some of the newer software I have. We also had Joe making explosive coughing during the show. He'll talk about it during the show anyway. And I tried to cut some of those out, but sometimes I was speaking in the background or something, and so it was difficult to get rid of all of them. And this was the first Dice Tower, well, in which with the second one, I guess, but we changed the name to Panzers and Pieces. Rick Thornquist then nixed the name on me. He thought it sounded too wargamish, and it really does. There's not really a way that you can put war games in the title without it sounding mostly war games, and anyone who's not interested in war games would then go away. We had a lot of listeners who really enjoyed the wargaming aspect of the show, which is why I have Paul Glenn on the show even today. But back then I was concerned that, and so was Rick, that if we sounded too wargamish, we would chase away possibly those who weren't as big of fans of war games. So anyway, we changed the name in the next episode, The Dice Tower. This was also the first episode in which we introduced many different segments, and some of those segments are still around today. But rather than listen to me blather on about this, let's get on to the show. Hello, this is Tom Vassell.
I'm Joe Stedman.
Welcome to Panzers and Pieces.
Yes, Panzers and Pieces.
This is our second episode, and the first with this new name that we made up after soliciting many ideas from other people.
I'm not really sure if we like it yet or not. I don't know. Let's get some feedback about it.
Yeah, tell us what you think of it. The Panzers stands for airplanes, I think.
Yeah, right. And Pieces stands for Tom, you know.
Yes, Joe wanted to originally had dice, but I wanted to take dice out because I thought there's so many Euro games that don't have dice in them. In fact, many of them, most of them don't.
You know, every war game has a Panzer in it, so.
Well, okay, but Panzers make people think of war games.
I like tanks and dice, but he didn't like that. So.
All right. Well, please let us know what your opinions are of this. With this time, we are a little bit more prepared than the last time. I'm usually a fairly easy critic. People say of board games, but I try to be a much harsher critic towards myself. So this here says that I need to stop saying So let's But we do appreciate all the feedback. We have people listening from BoardGameGeek.com, from ConsumWorld.com, from the Miniatures page, and from all over the internet. I even have students who listen to this who should be doing their homework.
Yeah.
Now, Joe was supposed to pick up the slack there and failed. But okay. So anyway, again, my name's Tom Vassell. This is my sidekick, Joe Stedman.
That's a good point. I am not your sidekick, Mr. Thornquist. I am not Tom's sidekick. It's actually the other way around. But I guess it depends on what website you're on. If you're on Board Game Geek, I guess I'm your sidekick.
I'm sorry, I'm just Batman and Joe is Robin.
No, they are.
Gets
Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Those purdy green tights.
old weirdy. Let's see here. Korean Gaming Utopia.
Well,
last week Tom said that you tried to break the myth of it being a Korean gaming utopia. Well, I'm here to say it is a gaming utopia because, you know, how many weekends do we go down to Seoul to go hang out and do board games?
That's true, but that's also because we have wonderful wives. But
yes, wonderful wives. I love you, honey. My wife, you know, she might listen to the show, maybe.
Oh, my wife doesn't care. She says, "What are you doing?"
No, it's cool though because there's gaming cafes everywhere, and You go in there and there's all these games all over the wall. There's shelves and shelves of games. It's not like when you go into an American gaming store, it's all CCG guys sitting in the corner playing CCGs, giving you dirty looks and, stinking like BO. Like I said, CCG players now. I'm not picking on you. I just,
No, I will pick on CCG players. They have a bad reputation.
It's true, though.
I sort of actually gamers in general do. Although I have to say that amongst war gamers and Euro gamers, I'm really impressed with the quality of people who I play with. Occasionally I'll run into someone has a real attitude problem,
like me.
But they're usually fairly intelligent and just willing
like
to.
me.
All right, moving on. Joe wanted to tell you a little bit about Wargamers Rock.
Yeah, someone was asking me about. I got a couple questions on about wargaming in Korea and how I play war games. There's actually a pretty good group of guys, wargamersrock.com, or they have a Yahoo group, Wargamers Rock. And if you want that address for some reason, just email me and I'll give it to you. But it's mostly old Army guys, and they get together. There's a guy named Wayne. He likes to play miniatures and things. He keeps on saying he's going to come up here, but he never shows up.
ROK, by the way, stands for Republic of Korea.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't
And
everybody know that?
R-O-K. Well, I didn't know what it meant. The longest time I was wondering what ROK meant. I thought maybe it was that ancient bird from Sinbad. And well,
I liked Rick at Origins. He seemed like a nice guy. He talked to me for like 2 minutes, at least 2 minutes.
Yeah.
He said, you're Joe Manly Man Stedman, huh? And that was about the end of our conversation. But
well, what we're doing here is we're trying to release Joe into the public.
Oh,
and
right.
so we're warming up. When you meet him at Origins, you won't be so scared of him.
Right, because everyone's just so afraid of me.
What we're going to do in this episode and in future episodes is we're going to have different sections, different segments. We're looking for audio clips. Currently, most of our audio clips are, pretty vague audio clips. They're nothing really to be.
What's your name, scumbag?
Okay.
That's a good one.
We're just stealing them from movies and TV
Good
shows.
movie, though.
But if you make us custom waves for our different sections of our show, we would really appreciate that. We would give you Geek Gold because that's all I have. I can't give you real money.
Yes, Tom is poor, and so am I.
But we can give you Geek Gold.
And I have 2 warnings about the show. One, I have a cough, because right now in Korea we have the crazy yellow dust. If you've never heard of that, in Mongolia they have these dust storms every year about this time of the year, and it blows dust all over Korea, and it's just driving my sinuses, and I'm just coughing like crazy. So I got a cup of water here. Tom, my sidekick, he went and got it for me. And what was my other one? Oh, and if I'm not concentrating, it's because I'm so stuck on this werewolf game. I'm in my first werewolf game on Board Game Geek, and I don't want to give away any information because
Joe is
yeah, shh. But I just can't believe how much fun it is. I've been sitting here and I was making fun of Tom. I was making fun of it to Tom because all of it. I look at it and it's like how many posts are on the game that you were GMing? Like 700 or something crazy?
Is your game already up to 11 pages worth? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, there's a lot. We're pretty vocal over there at Captain App's game. Where is it at? Under Active, this great interface on Board Game Geek. But I don't know. I'm consumed by this silly game. And then my computer broke down yesterday, and I had to. We're in Antarctica.
Yeah, for all those people who are in that game, his computer actually did break down. It was not a ruse.
We're at 278 already in our game.
Yeah, I really like the werewolf. It does consume a lot of time, and
well, I was making fun of it. I was like, what are these guys doing? And I thought I'd sign up for a Cap Apps game. And usually I can't stand Cap App. Me and him have gone to blows a couple times. Me and him are diabolically different in a couple of things. And so I thought, maybe we can put that aside and I'll play in this game.
You mean diametrically. Diabolically is devilish. Diabolically.
Well, he's a diabolic kind of guy.
Well, let's get to the first part of our show, and that's where we answer questions. If you have any questions, email them to Joe at joestedman@gmail.com or to me at tomvassal@gmail.com, or post them on the web for all to see. We have a few questions that people asked us, and our first question is for Joe from Fraser. He says, Joe, as a big fan of diplomacy, which is one of Tom's great dislikes, to put it mildly, have you played or do you intend to play Crocodile Pool Party, or is it too Euro for you?
Crocodile Pool Party. Now, didn't we play that once when you first got it?
Yes, I played it with Joe, my wife, and a couple other people.
It reminded me of most Euro games. Boring. No, really, just kind of la la la.
Look, we got to keep the sponsors. You can't smash Euro games all the
time.
Oh
no, I played Crocodile Pool Party, Fraser, and I'll never play it again. I can guarantee it. Did you give that? No, I used to have that game.
No, right? Crocodile Pool Party marks it on my list as one of the games I got rid of. It was a very
That's a rare thing for Tom.
Joe's been trying to talk me into culling my game collection, and I finally got rid of maybe 30 games, and even then, they're really trashy games.
It brings up an interesting question, Tom. Are you a game collector, or you just collect games by chance, or do you like to collect the actual games?
I don't care about collection too much. I mean, there's a couple games I'm.
How many games do you have right now?
700.
See, I got 200, but I don't have a game I don't like. How many games do you own that you don't like?
Now that I've culled my collection, maybe 10 or 15, but I keep them around because I know there's people who do like them.
John Sears wrote to me, and he told me that we made his commute bearable, made his drive to work tolerable. Wow, can you imagine that?
Yeah, and we're thankful for all those who wrote in and said they appreciated it. For those people who want it, RSS feeds, Rick Thornquist is working on that at GameFest.com. Maybe this one already is on RSS feed.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because we know
a
whole lot about that.
My dad used to commute to work 90 miles one way, and I remember he used to listen to AM radio, and I used to think that was the weirdest thing when I was a teenager. But now I just listen to a talk show or something, and time passes, don't it?
We're better than AM radio.
Yeah, right.
All right, Joe. Apparently, Joe gets more questions than I do. Here's a few wargaming questions for Joe from Kimbo. Okay, that's his user ID at Board Game Geek. And it says, in the first show, Joe mentioned not having a lot of success playing war games over the internet using ACTS, ACTS, and or other methods. This leads to two questions. Here's a whole lot more than two. Well,
yeah.
Which methods have you used in attempting to play war games over the internet? You mentioned ACTS. Have you used Cyberboard or ADC2? What are your experiences with ACTS, Cyberboard, and or ADC2?
All right. Well, let me just say. Okay, I've used Axe before. There's even one called Vassal.
Yes. I every time I see that, I get excited, and then it's not about.
But
me.
it's spelled wrong.
Yeah. Well, people spell my name wrong anyway. VASEL. Get it right, folks.
Us wargamers, we like to put the SS. It gives us a little bit of German.
Yeah.
Anyway, no. I've used Axe before. I've used Cyberboard. I've attempted ADC once, but it was just too. I don't know. I didn't like the interface. Cyberboard's kind of clunky. It's okay. I mean, but to me, I used it with a guy who lived in Korea. Just because we didn't want to keep the board set up in our house, and so we used Cyberboard, and we played back and forth, me and Bob, our house. But all this kind of goes down into the fact that with war games, unless you really know the game well, it's impossible for me anyway. I guess I'm not smart enough to play the game on the internet. I gotta, like when I learn a new game, someone's got to teach me how to play the game. That's why I like playing war games with other war gamers, because they can show you how to play. Because war games are a little more complex than Euro games. You can't sit down and 5 minutes later be playing and thinking of great strategies, right? But
a positive point, not a negative one.
I want the randomness of who wins. I don't know about that. But so I've used those things. I just like to play face to face, and if it's a game I know really well, then I'll attempt to use one of these systems, and I think they're good things. Matter of fact, when I go to Origin
Scotty,
here,
beat me up.
That was shut up. All right.
Okay,
Moving on to the next question. Are you familiar with hexwar.com? If so, what is your opinion of the service? Have you played any of the play-by-internet war games offered by hexwar.com?
Oh, well, I've been to hexwar.com, and I've never played any of their games because most of their games are all SPI stuff. And I like some of the SPI titles, but the titles that they offer just don't thrill me that much. They've got one game in development, Turning Point Stalingrad, I think is a great game. But the rest of the games, they just don't really do much for me. Maybe it's because no one's ever sat down and taught me these games before. Maybe I would love them. But so, hey, if you want to start a game with me and teach me how to play, Kimbo, let's go.
Kimbo continues, as you can tell by my geek badge, I am a big fan of hexwar.com. I think it's a great service, and while the games available are currently limited to SPI quad-type games, by the way, this is all foreign language to me. But anyway, he continues, I don't see that as a bad thing, as I prefer light to medium games, war games or Euro games, over heavier games. What is Joe's preference in war games in terms of complexity? Do you prefer light, medium, or heavy, hardcore war games?
That's a complicated question. I mean, because I like all war games. When I go, like at Origins, I'll be sitting there and I'll be playing a light war game at one table. At the same time, I'm involved in a monster game, a very complex game over on the other side of the war room. And so I go back and forth. It just depends on who's willing to play me. I really like all conflict simulation games. I mean, that's the best way to put it. I think I own mostly middle of the road games because, introduction games, I guess you could say. But I prefer the complex stuff, and I like it all.
Yeah, but do you like the Richard Berg?
Yeah, I like Richard Berg. Let's not get on Richard Berg.
No. I said, do you like the Monster Longest Day type games?
I love those games. I would love to. The games are great, because you can set them up and you can walk away from them and come back. I don't know. You have to have a place where you can play for a long time, making a basement or on a pool table or something. But to sit down and play it straight, you need a convention or something to do that.
All right, moving on to the next question.
All right, I'll read this one because I think this one's for Tom and me, but I think Tom can take this one. It says, "Hi, Tom and Joe. I'm an English teacher / missionary." Oh, cool. I've met those before. And where is this? Kamutamoto, Japan. I probably said that wrong. And a member of the CGG mailing list, Christian Gamers Guild. I really enjoy reading reviews, Tom, and it's a great first webcast. Is that the word? It's not. I don't think it's a web audio cast, right?
I don't really care.
Who cares? No, wait. That's not my question. All right. I have 3 questions about Duel of Ages, Tom's favorite game.
Greatest game ever.
Yeah, whatever. I bought the whole set while in the U.S. and love it, but my actual first 3 games have been problematic. Oh, go figure. He didn't say that. I did. Number 1, how do you help speed up turns?
Oh, read the whole thing.
All right. It seems to be taking players a long time to finish taking their 4 to 5 character turns. How much longer? Much longer than the rules indicate. I haven't been satisfied with anything less than a 3-hour game so far. I'd like to play shorter games.
Well, one thing about Duel of Ages, I'm not satisfied with anything less than a 2-hour game, no matter how fast people play. It seems like the game just starts getting good around an hour and a half or so. If you're playing with 2 players, I don't see that turns take that long. With multiplayers, we allow people to move simultaneously because it just seems like it goes quicker. And by simultaneously, I'm talking about people on the same team.
Yeah.
As for slow players, I definitely deal with my share of those, and there's all different ways we handle that. Hum the theme to Jeopardy, say, oh, it's your turn again. Oh, wait, it's how long?
Wasn't this an interesting debate on Board Game Geek?
My brain is going backwards.
I just say, hey.
Move it.
Let's go, Slowpoke. There's a good friend of ours that's always kind of slow.
But Duel of Ages is not a short game. I would say 2-3 hours is my typical length for a game. Occasionally I'll play a 4-hour marathon, but they're usually 2 or 3 hours.
I like the game. I just think sometimes it goes on anyway. Next question. What do you think about the success versus failure ratio of beating challenges to your characters? I really like the challenge chart theoretically, but in reality, too many challenges are being missed by all players, and that gets old.
Well, that's just strategy of the game. I think that the percentage of people who fail challenges is pretty high, but usually I try to set it up so that I have 5 or 6 challenges being tried every turn, so your chances of getting some of them work high, and the game sort of snowballs because the more challenges you complete, the better you do as you go along. You get cooler weapons, you make sure you send the right age people. I didn't think it got that old.
That brings up an interesting thing about the game. It sums up me and you about the game. Tom likes to do the challenges. I like to sit in the middle of the map and just kill people.
Well, I like to kill people too, but not as much as Joe.
All right. Number 3, could you comment on your experience with the 3-person cutthroat duel? It seems like cutthroat is really cutthroat. One player with Spartacus, for instance, in his experience, wiped out 3 of my characters before I could get a single guardian passed. I think the rules should be more clear with examples of how allied players should work together to avoid this bloodthirsty loner syndrome. You might like the 3-person cutthroat duel better, Joe. Sounds like I will. Lots of backstabbing possibilities. Thanks for your comments on any of these questions. Keep on gaming, Chuck Waterman.
I have not played the cutthroat duel. I'm pretty happy with the 2-player. I thought cutthroat, it just didn't interest me that much, even though Joe would probably like it, and I have other friends who might like the cutthroat. I'm really happy with the game as it is. Maybe you can persuade Joe to play a cutthroat game, and he can let you know.
We could play it on X. Get the cyberboard version.
I don't know. All right, now we have some questions that I pulled off of Board Game Geek. I looked up the geek questions, and I did a search for Joe and came up with nothing.
Yeah,
Come on, folks, make some
figure.
interesting questions about Joe, like, is he manly or not? Things like that. I didn't want to do it because then Joe would get irritated at me, and we have to work together. But
I'd call you a loser.
Yeah, probably. But I did find a few about myself. Some of them I'm not going to repeat because they're from Mr. Cranky and they don't really make much sense.
Oh, Josh.
But one person put up Tom Vassell or Rick Thornquist, and so I calculated the votes.
Rick.
Oh, well, Joe didn't vote. I got 30 votes. Rick got 15. 4 votes were an amalgamation of our names. 11 people made moronic statements. 2 people said neither, and 2 people said both. Well, Rick, maybe I should be having your job here. I don't know. And then people asked, do you like Tom Vassell's avatar, or does it make you reach for the escape key? And some people said they do not like it. I don't care. I think it's cool. But if 10 people, I'll say this now on air, if 10 people email me and say they don't like my animated avatar, I will change it to a non-animated one. But 10 people,
Ooh. Speaking of, I need
not
someone,
including Joe.
No, I'll do it 10 times with all my fake accounts that I have. No, I need someone to help me do my Uber badge. I got
Okay.
an Uber badge, and I've got no one to help me. I can't figure it out.
All right, we'll do our typical thing. I'll give Geek Gold to the person who helps Joe with his Uber
Thanks,
badge.
Dad. I want to know. I'll put the title of our show on it, right? Panzers and what's it called again? Oh, yeah, Panzers and Pieces. I'll put that on there.
I'm glad Joe remembers the name of our show.
See, it hasn't stuck in my head yet.
And the last question about me said, if Tom Bassel called your games low to mediocre, would you snap his spine like a twig? Who do you think wrote that one?
Me?
Oh. Here, answer the question, Joe. What would you? What?
If he called my games low to mediocre, would you?
Oh, I have called Joe's games low to mediocre, so
Yeah, well, I don't really listen to you, so.
I don't call too many games low to mediocre. But
Alligator Pool Party.
that's. I think this was a veiled
What was
reference
that?
to my-
Time Control? Is that another one that you like a lot?
Yeah, I'm sure.
This episode of the Dice Tower is sponsored by Days of Wonder, who has just recently released 4 new Specialist Pack expansions for their epic fantasy adventure game, Battle Lore. Learn how to add more goblins, dwarves, and medieval weapon specialists into your diet at www.battlelore.com.
We had one more question, and this question is actually going to go into a segment here. I don't want to be known completely as the optimist, so each show we're going to have Tom's rant. I'm going to rant about something.
This is where I take a break.
Yes. So here we go. Time to rant from Tom Bassel.
What is thy bidding, my master?
Okay, a question that I get a lot on the internet and from emails and stuff is people say, how do you have all this time? Do you disregard your family? Do you not work as a missionary? Do you teach? Do you have a life? To this I say, people shut up. Now listen to this. I'm in my rant mode here and I'm in charge. Everyone has so much time. I look at people who post all the time on the internet. They will post in every thread. They will post 5-paragraph responses to every thread. And then they'll say, Tom, how do you have time to write 3 reviews a week? And I'll say, well, my reviews are 2 to 3 pages long, and your posts are twice that much. Who has the more time? I also don't watch a whole lot of TV. I watch very few movies. I do spend a lot of time with my family. I do spend a lot of time at church. I do spend a lot of time at school. But there's so much time in a day. There's so much time to get stuff done. I don't have time to sit around. I just get it done. We have lots of time. I am not a machine. I'm not a robot. This stuff is easy. Does it take work? Yes. Does it require me to consciously keep trying? Each day I'll say, okay, today I'm going to write a review. Oh, that took an hour out of my day. Oh, the horrors. Oh, the horrors. I just spent so much time. I could have watched 2 TV shows. But instead, I spent my time. And then I will be sitting there at my desk typing. My kids will come jump on me. I'll forget about the review, play with the kids, come back, type another paragraph. My wife checks it, family activity. But we have time. You have time. Don't ever look at us and say, oh, you have all this time. Well, in some senses we do. Teachers, at least in our experience, have a lot of time. But we're really busy. I mean, this is the busiest month of the year for us, I think, May.
Yeah.
Graduation's coming. We're going on field trips. We're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But
Opening
we
the Star
have
Wars.
the time to get it done. Yes, and we even have time to go see Star Wars when it comes
But it's
out.
opening like a week later in Korea, right?
Yeah, well, please don't tell us how
No
it turns
spoilers,
out.
no emails. I don't want to hear about it. You know,
Well-
I'm not really sure. I think Anakin might go ahead and take on the Emperor and win. You know, him
Maybe-
and Obi-Wan fighting together
Maybe
side by
he
side.
won't turn into Darth Vader.
Yeah. Oh, anyway.
Anyway, that's my rant. I have time. You have time. We all have time. Stop bothering me about my time. Optimus mode, back on.
You need one of those like sound bites of a cat going, you know.
Houston, we have a problem.
Okay. Now we go to the section of the show that we started last week, and that's our top 10 list. Last week was our top 10 games of all time. Obviously, we can't do that again. I don't think they've changed in the past week, have they?
No.
Okay. So this week we're going to do our top 10 card games. We'll start with Joe. We'll start from our 10th game and go to our top game of card games. What's our definition of a card game? For me, it was any game that was composed mostly of cards. If you think it doesn't belong, too bad. We are the
It's
ones.
our show. You start your own show, and
Yeah.
then you can say what you
We're
want.
picking the category.
All right, we were here having our own show. Now, okay, my last number 10. I put mine in order.
Number 10.
Number 10. I like Mag Blast. People have called it a silly game, crazy game. I don't use the rule that says you have to make sound effects when you play.
I thought you did use that rule.
Everyone always says no. I always tell them they got to use the rule, but they won't do it. I like that game. I like that game with 4 players, actually. I think it's a great 4-player game.
It's okay.
If you play 4 players, you got to play with 2 teams. If you play every man for himself, it's kind of crazy.
Well, any game like that is kind of crazy. It reminds me of family business in a sense, but I guess we'll get to that soon enough. My number 10 game is Rage. This is in college we played Rook, and I liked Rage because Rage added so much chaos to the theme of Rook, of taking tricks. I like it. I like the fact that it handles up to 10 people. It's just a really fun game. Is there a lot of strategy? Not really. Are there a few people who hate it? Yes, but most of my friends didn't like it. I like Rage a lot. I don't think Joe does, though.
No, I can't stand Rage. Matter of fact, I think I quit in the middle of the game when we were playing once.
Yeah, probably.
It's a stupid game. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Oh, well. Number 9.
Speaking of chaos, my number 9 game is Pit, the old-fashioned, stock market game.
Yeah, but Pit is controlled chaos, isn't it?
It's controlled chaos. I love that game.
Is that even possible? Controlled chaos?
Controlled chaos.
Theme for next week.
No, I like Pit. Played with the Korean kids when I was at the Hagwon. Hagwon's an English language school, if you don't know, which I'm sure you don't. I like playing the silent variant. That's kind of fun. It gets people all just waving fingers at each other. If you ever play this game with some old people, I guess we're kind of old nowadays. But I mean adult. I guess we're adults too. I guess 50s and 60s.
I'm 28 by the way, and Joe's 34.
31. Thank you very much. Anyway, I got my parents once to play this game a couple years ago, and it was just crazy to see my dad playing this card game. I don't know. I have a lot of funny memories about it.
My number 9 game is Mamma Mia. I guess I would tie in Sole Mio in that too. They're pretty much the same game. In fact, I combine them to make Mamma Mia Grande. Some people don't like it because it's a memory game. My memory is horrid, terrible, atrocious, but I still like the game. I like pizza a lot. I think the game is fun. I highly recommend Mamma Mia.
It's all right.
All right. Number 8.
Number 8, yes. I like Corsair, the pirate game, not the new one that's out with the funny colored pirates. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, isn't that the one you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the pirate game. It's called Pirate, but it's got a different name, and it's got the long, skinny black box. It's about pirate ships.
Oh, that game.
Yeah, it's called Pirate, but then they released the box I have says Corsair on it.
Okay, I know what game you're talking about. You basically are trying to capture
the Spanish galleons, right?
Different Spanish
You have different
galleons.
colored pirates. You're trying to. I like that game. The teens at school like it a lot. I just find it a lot.
It's a diversion. I didn't dislike it. Didn't think it was great, but didn't dislike it.
I like it a lot. Sorry. It's my top 10, not yours.
Yeah, you're right. My number 8 is Nobody But Us Chickens, done by Giant Evil Games. Now they're called Dancing Eggplant. Nobody But Us Chickens. I really like Chicken Cha Cha Cha. Or wait, I'm getting these games mixed up now. But and Cack and Gackle Whack. There's so many chicken games.
I love the themes.
Nobody But Us Chickens was so neat because it's all you have is just a stack of cards, simultaneously playing them, and it's all trying to guess what the opponent does. I'm horrible at the game. Horrible. I think I said this about the last game.
Most games, Tom.
But I really like Nobody But Us Chickens. It's a tremendous game made by an independent publisher. Good game. Number 7.
I like. I think this is the game we both have on our list. My number 7 is David and Goliath. It's like playing spades, but it's a weird variation. My father-in-law, who's never played anything other than regular poker and spades and things, he played it with us. He had a good time. Matter of fact, I'm buying him a box of it for Christmas. I just like the game. It's neat how you try to stick the opponent at the same time you're trying to take points, and at the same time you try to stick it to the opponent by giving them the high card. I would suggest you play it. I like it a lot.
It's a good trick-taking game. I believe the object is to not take the lowest or the highest. Play the lowest highest card. You always want to play a middle card.
You want to stay in the middle, right?
My favorite, my number 7 is Bottle Imp. It's known by another name in German. I can't pronounce it. Plenary Games released Bottle Imp. I think it's my favorite 3-player trick-taking game. And there's a lot of times I'm with just 3 players. I like how it follows the storyline of the story by Robert Louis Stevenson, and it's just a really good trick-taking game. Tremendous. Number 6.
That sounds so stupid. All right.
If you don't like the stupidness of that, make us audio
we need
people.
some help us. No. Number 6 for me is Family Business. I know some are going to say this is not a card game, but okay, what are the components of the game, Tom?
No, I think it's a card game.
Okay, well, it's good. Okay, I'm glad we agree. I like Family Business. It's a downright dirty game. It really ticks people off when you play. We played one time with all the adults, and we had a couple of teens because we wanted some more people to play.
They were snotty teens,
There's
too.
a snotty guy named Sam Lee, right? And Sam Lee, he was sitting at our table, and the very first turn, he was the last person to go around. So by the time it got to him, he was completely dead.
Yes.
We all ganged up on him and eliminated him.
And Sam is probably listening to this broadcast.
Yeah, and I'll do it again, Sam, if you want to play.
I think Family Business is okay. I like it. Kids love it. It comes out a lot in my
saying I'm a
board
kid?
game club. Moving on. My number 6, we'll just skip it. It's David and Goliath, but that's my number 6. I also like it a lot. Number 5.
Let's see here. Number 5 for me is battle cards. It's World War II battle cards, DGA games. I got to meet the designer of the game. It's a real interesting, neat variation. It's a simple card game where one player plays the Allied, one player plays the German. I've heard people say it's too long. I enjoy it. Then he came out with 2 expansions. There's the Russian front expansion, and then there's the Japanese expansion. I've got all 3. I've actually ran a tournament one time here in Korea. It's a good game.
I like it. It just felt too lucky. But it has a lot of theme. It has a lot of theme, and there is some guessing to it.
Was you saying too lucky?
Well, I'm sorry.
I thought that you liked luck.
I just felt like if you got really good cards, you couldn't lose.
That's not how all card games are?
Not all.
I didn't think it was lucky. I thought there was strategy involved.
Well, my number 5 game is Queen's Necklace by Bruno Fiduci. Days of Wonder is one of their earlier games, and it comes with a necklace that everyone refused to wear.
I'll wear it.
I got the necklace and said, "Oh, when you get the Queen's Necklace, you have to wear this." And I had this unanimous no by all the guys at the table. But other than that, it was a really fun game. Some people think it's too chaotic, but I thought the way that you bid for jewels that changed their value, depending on how many people put them up for sale, was just a really good mechanic. I don't get it played as often as I'd like to, but at least I can go online and play it.
You just like the necklace. Be honest.
No, I do not like the necklace.
All right,
number 4.
Is it 4 already?
Yes, sir.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4. Number 4 is Decision Games makes a game called Lightning Midway. It's just a great 2-player game. It's fast. It's 30 minutes.
And Joe's gonna.
I'll talk about this more later. But they also have the Lightning D-Day. I think Lightning Midway is the better of the 2, and that's why it's on my top 10.
My number 4 is Bang. Bang is probably the most successful card game I've been able to teach to people. I've gotten demure mothers to get into the Bang. I've gotten kids to get riotous over Bang. I personally got a little tired of it, but then when the expansions came, High Noon and then Dodge City, they really breathed life into it. I like the fact that the High Noon adds 2 Renegades, which makes, to me, a lot more exciting. I've seen some pretty good Bang tournaments. In fact, last Origins, I saw a game that Joe was in where there was a Sheriff left, 1 Outlaw, and the Renegade.
Nah.
No, it was the Renegade and the Deputy. And both the Renegade and Deputy were trying to persuade the Sheriff that the other one was the Renegade/Deputy.
Yeah, and I was the Deputy.
Were you the Deputy?
Yeah, I was a Deputy, and the other guy was the Renegade. And for some reason, the Sheriff killed me, and you know what? He lost because of it.
That was a really good game. Bang has some really neat moments. That's why it's number 4.
All you werewolf players, when I say I'm something, I'm something.
Number 3.
Battle Line. I really like Battle Line. My friend Bob introduced it to me back when it was still out of print. I really, really liked it. I was really jealous of it, but I was not going to pay as much money as they wanted for it on eBay for a simple trick-taking game.
Yeah, I highly recommend if
Not trick-taking, but
if you like Battle Line,
Shot and Totten.
get it now before it goes out of print again.
Yeah, it's like Shot and Totten, but it's better.
Yeah, Battle Line is an excellent game. Your Bluffing is my number 3. Your Bluffing is a hugely underrated game. It's just a bunch of cards with funny cartoon animals on it. You read the rules. It doesn't sound very interesting, but when you play it, it's one of the first reviews I've written. It's a great game. It's amazing the fun things that you can do in your Bluffing. It really is a game all about bluffing and auctioning. Really good game.
All right.
Number 2.
Number 2 for me is Atlantic Storm. It's a very, very good game. It's one of my better friends' favorite game. I really, really enjoy this game. It's a trick-taking game with a World War II theme. The theme at first might seem like it's tacked on, but the theme helps you to get into the game. You go around a table and you're either the Germans trying to capture or sink a convoy, or you're the convoy, you're the British and the Americans trying to protect the convoy, and you're trying to talk the people that go after you in turn order to join on your side. So if I declare I'm Germans, I'm trying to talk the people into being Germans with me, so that when we sink the convoy, we can divide up the booty. You know, it's a great game because there's negotiating and diplomacy and trick taking. I really like the game a lot.
My number 2 game is Lost Cities. There is no game yet that has the appeal I've seen Lost Cities have. I taught it to my wife, and we played it more than any other game that I have. I've taught it to other people, and she's taught it to. It's one of the few games that my wife has actually taught to other people.
Well,
it is the spouse game.
No, it's the wife game. How many
Okay,
how many listeners would chime in that their wives kicked their tails in this game? My wife kills me in this game.
Lost Cities is one of the few games where I will take the cards and throw them across the room because I'm so
I don't
mad.
I don't like the game, and I don't like it because I've never, ever, not even one time beat my wife in it.
I do enjoy it. Me and my wife are pretty much at 50%, and it irritates me that I'm not higher. I'll win a game and then she'll win a game, but it's a really
math
good game.
teacher. You're a math teacher. You should be doing better than that.
Yeah.
I can beat my wife in the Reef, but I can't beat her in that. You know, silly game.
And number 1.
For me, it should have been obvious, probably, knowing my reputation. I really like Upfront. I think it's one of the best card games ever made. It is the best card game. I guess that's because it's number 1. Sadly, I have no one to play with me here in Korea. I've yet to try to play it on the internet. I'm bringing my set with me to Origins, and I am going to corner someone, and we're going to play it for 6 or 7 hours. I don't care. To make sure that I'm down on the rules, because it's kind of a hard to learn game. The rule book is kind of tricky. But once you learn the game, it's really fun. Squad level, it's like ASL in a card game. That's the easiest way to explain it.
My number 1 game is Battle Line. Joe already mentioned it. It was his number 3.
Yeah.
But Battle Line or Shot and Totten, I'll play either one of them. It's not as easy for people to play as Lost Cities is, but man, I just love it. I was a little wary of the action cards at first in Battle Line. I thought, man, I hate the randomness they added to the game. I like the logic of it, but I've gotten to like the action cards. I think Battle Line is a tremendous game. I've wanted to throw cards in that one too. It's one of my highest winning percentages. It's like 90%, and then I was actually 100%. I played someone who had never played Euro games before. I said, look, you'll probably lose. I've never lost this game, and he destroyed me.
Who was that?
His name was Elijah.
Elijah.
Okay, so those are our top 10 card games. That's wonderful. And we'll try to get some cooler audio cues. Again, Key Code, help us out.
Hasta la vista, baby.
The show's not over?
Oh, sorry. That was the wrong file, I suppose.
Give me another clip. Come on, we got to get another clip here. Just click on one.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. What I want to do next is each week Tom does his little rant. I'm going to try to be more positive. Tom, I'm known to be for being a troll and for being negative and making fun of people. And Tom's known to be this lofty, optimistic, happy-go-lucky kind of guy. So for the show, once a week we're going to reverse roles. And so I'm going to try to do something optimistic, something nice. As you probably know from listening to the last show, if you did, I work with soldiers over here in Korea, stationed here. Have them over to my home, and we play games and board games and miniatures and things like this. And we just try to minister to them. My wife and I, we open our home. And each week I just want to talk about one of those guys. Just kind of call him the soldier of the week. For you Christians out there, it's an opportunity for you to get someone to pray for. These guys need prayer. If you're not a Christian, it's just a chance for you to hear about one of the servicemen that are overseas, If you're interested in any of these guys, I can give you their mailing addresses, care packages. Almost every guy I'll ever talk about will be a single guy who was over here, home cooked, some cookies, anything from the States, These guys would love it. And just something, I don't know, I was led to do this. And, hey, this week's Soldier of the Week, his name's Brian Hudson. Tom and I both know the guy. He's 19, single. He's kind of a funny guy.
Most people I know are funny.
Yeah, he's kind of odd, but he's a really good guy. He comes to my house all the time. He's my wife, she's only 24, but Brian is like her son. I mean, because he just comes into the house, he'll knock, he'll come in, he'll go right into the kitchen, into the refrigerator, he'll drink some of my pop, he'll do whatever, he don't care. He's just a good guy. He's a 40K fanatic. He knows the 40K universe inside and out.
Yes, that's true. I've never met anyone who.
I think he's read every of the graphic novels and all these things that they have. If you want to know anything about 40K and about all their dark demonic, storyline that goes along with it, just ask Brian, because he can tell you without even looking it up. It's crazy. So anyway, his name is Brian Hudson. He's a PFC in the Army. He's in communications, commo. But if you wanna send him a package, or you just wanna, there's your man. Let me know, and I can give you some more information.
This episode of the Dice Tower is brought to you by Days of Wonder. Their newest game is Colosseum, where you play the role of a Roman impresario, producing great spectacles in the hopes of attracting the most spectators to your arena. Learn more at www.daysofwonder.com.
Okay, now we're going to do a little thing that we'll do each week, or we'll try to if Rick keeps us informed on the internet and other places. We're going to talk about breaking news, and we're going to talk about things that we have no idea. We're going to just make up stuff if we have to.
And you can call us a source, right?
Yeah. And well, we heard on a radio show that they said this. This week it's Axis and Allies miniatures. This is something that actually Joe and I are both semi-interested in, because Joe's a big fan of miniatures that are
World War II. Yeah.
I'm just a big fan of. I like the Axis and Allies system, even though I'm getting a little disillusioned with how long some of the games take. But I like pretty much everything that Hasbro has done lately. I know some of their latest games are really light, but I think their pieces are so cool. I mean, just really cool. And so if the pieces for this Axis and Allies game are anything like Heroescape or Betrayal at House on a Hill, that's just coolness.
Betrayal at House. They had those little plastic miniatures.
Yeah, no, just the tiles for the house.
These guys, the Axis and Allies miniatures, are supposed to be 15 millimeter, pre-painted, and right now, if you're one of the miniatures guys, and I know some miniatures guys listen to this show, the Flames of War is a real popular company out in New Zealand. They're doing a 15 millimeter line. Battlefront is the name of the company. Flames of War is a system, and a lot of guys complain that the game's kind of easygoing, kind of laid back, not very historical. But this if you play Flames of War, I'm guessing that this is a way to get some cheap painted miniatures, because all you miniature guys know how much it costs to get your stuff painted if you don't want to do it yourself. And if you're like me,
and I never want to do it myself.
if you look at any of my models that I paint, I do War Game standard tops. You know what I'm saying? Good enough from a 5 foot. If you're 5 foot away, my stuff looks great.
He's cut himself too little credit. He's a lot better than I am. You should have seen some of the stuff I painted.
Yeah, but you just dunk it into paint, right? 3 colors, tournament, dunk, dunk, dunk. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I don't like the fact that I hear that it's collectible.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. Make a prediction. Do you think it will succeed or not succeed?
I think it'll do better than some of the things they've done. I think it'll succeed.
I think it will succeed too. I think, if anything, Grogners will keep it in business because they'll buy the models because they're cool.
There's already a buzz going on some of the wargaming pages and things about it. Like it or love it, I think it'll float for a while anyway.
I think so too. That brings us, it just leads naturally into our next segment. We'll talk about something controversial because we just like to be controversial, and that's collectible games. Now, this is interesting. Everyone here knows if you read on the internet, you'll know I'm running a series of interviews with notable people in the game world. And
you ain't interviewed me yet. That's right. Never mind.
With notable people, and
Mr. Cranky.
I finished up to interviews 41. I haven't put them all on the internet, and I interview about 10 to 20 people at one time, which sounds like a lot, but it's only one question a day. Or some of these people take 2 weeks
for
every question.
No names.
Well, I won't. But I'm actually interviewing Richard Garfield, and he's the person who started the whole Magic the Gathering, which started the whole collectible thing. It then moved into miniatures. It seems like lots of things are collectible. Even Avalon Hill made collectible Stratego. And I asked him what his thoughts were on collectible, and he liked the concept of collectible because you can make your own stuff. But he even admitted that it's gotten out of control. Now, I have collected collectible stuff. In college, I played collectible card games.
Maybe we should
done out of style.
Maybe we should define what's the difference between collectible and you can buy. There's collectible, and then you can buy miniature games, and you can buy these things. But what does collectible mean?
Okay, collectible card games or collectible miniature games, also called trading card games and trading miniature games. I believe Wizards of the Coast trademarked one of the names. They even trademarked one of the ideas.
Yeah.
What they are is you buy a pack of cards or you buy a box of miniatures, and you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Usually they give you one rare. They have different distributions for all the different figures or cards. They'll give you one rare, some uncommons and some commons, and then you make decks up of cards to play someone in whatever the rules of the game is, or armies that are worth certain amounts of points. The biggest collectible card game is Magic the Gathering by far, with Pokemon, and the collectible card games seem to rise and fall pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Collectible miniature games here. Mage Knight was the one that started that
Mage
off.
Knight,
Then
Heroes,
HeroClix came, and then Dungeons and
Warrior,
Dragons
Dark
miniatures,
Ages.
Mech Warrior, and now
There's so many.
Major League Baseball. That one didn't do too as well.
We both have a collection of
That's
those.
one I do like, though.
We like baseball. But that's just it. The collectible aspect of an army, to me, is just cheesy because I'm going to have to buy 20 boxes of these things to get one guy holding a bazooka. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't make sense to me.
I think, on the flip side, I really like the fact that I could buy a box and have a whole bunch of pre-painted miniatures. I could care less if I have a bazooka guy.
Yeah, but if you're trying to make an army, you need a heavy support or an anti-tank, what are you going to do? You can go online and go to eBay because a week after this stuff comes out, there's going to be guys on eBay selling all the uniques. And then another way they get money out of you is they have the limited editions. At like Origins and things, they'll have the limited edition figures for the collectible stuff.
That I must say I'm not too big of a fan of, but I still find it kind of cool when I go to one of these shows and I get a card for one of my board games.
Yeah, well,
card.
I can't deny it's cool, but it's really when you sit across the table from an opponent and he pulls out this ultra rare limited edition figure that's just like uber strong. What are you gonna do?
I agree, and I've run into this thing with the collectible card games where each set negated the previous set, and really the rare cards were the best, and it just degenerated. And then sometimes I personally really like the Star Wars collectible card game, and then because Star Wars moved their license from Decipher to Wizards of the Coast, the whole bottom dropped out of that market. It was so disappointing.
Yeah.
So disappointing. So
I don't like collectibles.
I don't really buy many collectibles. I buy them occasionally for.
I collected collectibles. Last time I did collectibles, I've done a few collectible miniatures, but I did collectible baseball cards, I guess, when I was a little kid.
Oh, even now here in Korea, they have collectible miniatures. Basically, there's a series of miniatures, like maybe miniature airplanes.
Yeah.
And they're models.
A lot of those are from Japan too.
And you basically buy one, and you don't know which of the airplanes you'll get. Like
or
I bought
airplanes, tanks,
a suit of armor, anime
Greek
figures.
I think you had Greek suit of armor, and there's Roman suit of armor.
And that was kind of neat to buy one. But if I buy two, what if I get the same one I bought the first time? That would be annoying.
Then you can put it on eBay and sell it.
So what I did with CCGs, I think some of the games are great. I think the Warhammer CCG is a good game. And so what I do is I buy some starter decks, and that's it. Stay satisfied with the starter decks. Maybe buy a couple booster packs to give yourself a little bit of deck building, but that's it.
What are you gonna do?
Don't get sucked in.
What are you going to do if they ever release that historical baseball?
Yeah, that's the only one that's actually.
There's rumors that they're going to release
tempting
historical baseballs.
I think it's more
sports
than
clips.
rumors.
Yeah, maybe it isn't. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Maybe we get some clicks people who can update us on that. We'll talk about it in a future date. So
overall, I hate them. Collectibles.
I dislike them to a degree, but they really gave me some good feelings.
It's just marketing.
Did you ever play collectible card games?
No. Well, I played Magic when it first came out, but
opening a pack of cards, I loved it. There was some really good moments.
I got rid of all the Magic stuff. I don't have any of that anymore.
I'm not talking about just Magic. I'm talking about Star Wars, Overpower, BattleTech.
Oh, you just like looking through that pack that first time. Tell a story about Darth Vader.
Well, I got the mostest, rarest, cardist.
You suckered it out of a guy. Tell the story. Come on.
No, I didn't sucker it out of a guy. I bought it, and I got it. I bought a pack, and it was like in the first pack I bought. And the guy with me said, "That's a really rare card." And
he suckered it out of you.
Yeah, I said, well, oh, it's a card. Okay. Darth Vader, that's cool. Do you want it? He said, yeah, I'll give you anything in my collection. So I took 2 cards because I felt guilty. But in reality, it was kind of like selling the Brooklyn Bridge for a couple of shacks on the beach. But you live and you learn. Collectible games, Joe hates them. I merely say, meh.
Meh?
Meh. Knee. The night you say knee. See, you didn't give me that sound clip.
I look for it.
Hey, now this next section of the show was actually suggested by someone. I'll give him 5 feet gold because he suggested it.
You're like this as philanthropist. Have some gold. Have some gold.
I'll give the gold. And he suggested because Joe's name is actually Joey and I'm Tom. Joey and Tom, kangaroos and turkeys. So what we're going to do is we're going to not give full reviews, brief reviews of kangaroos and turkeys. Kangaroos are games that we liked or didn't like and got better as
sprung
time
forward,
went
right?
Along. And turkeys are games that we liked or didn't like and got worse. And then, so we'll start with the kangaroos. So
hey, your phone's ringing, Tom.
I got A phone call. Who could it be from? Meanwhile, Joe's going to start
I'll
with
go ahead and
his
start
kangaroo.
since you got a phone call. My kangaroo this week is We the People. It's the old Avalon Hill game. The first time I played it, I got my tail kicked by Bob, my friend Bob. I didn't know if I liked the game that much. The Hannibal versus Ronin, the Hannibal game, I really liked, and I was comparing it to that, and I wasn't sure if I would like it. But I played it again, and the second time I played it, I really could find there's a lot of strategy in that game, and I'm a history teacher, and I really like the historical aspect of it. I teach American history. But then I probably played this game 7 or 8 times, maybe a dozen times in the past year, and every time I played, I liked it more and more. Matter of fact, last time I played, I nailed it to Bob. And how often does that happen? How often did we beat Bob?
Very rarely.
Bob is like our sensei over here in Korea. When he
Bob,
leaves, it's going to be we're going to wear black.
Yeah, I think
Bob, let me give you a little back. Bob is a soldier here stationed in Korea. He's an avid gamer, Euro gamer, and a war gamer. Bob Arhost. He's closet. What's his name on Board Game Geek? Closet of Tacos or something like that?
Otaku. It has something to do with anime.
Right. But Bob's over here, good friend of ours. He schools us in games, literally. He's just a really a long-term gamer, got a lot of knowledge, and once in a while we'll pull off a victory.
I can beat him at Battle Line.
And I beat him at We the People once, but he already challenged me to a rematch. And the last time I did an all-nighter was with Bob. We played Barbarossa to Berlin, and I started getting the game. We ended our game at midnight, and Bob wasn't happy with the results, and so Bob said, "Let's start again." And it was already past midnight, and we played again. We finished our second game sometime in the wee hours. Last time I pulled an all-nighter gaming, but it was a good time.
Now it's time for my kangaroo.
You're having too much fun.
Mine is Robo Rally. Now, I did not dislike Robo Rally. I actually liked it when I first bought it. I had the German version and the German expansion, but we played this huge race, and it wasn't that great. Once I read on the internet, though, that you should play a tight race with crisscrossing paths on only 1 or 2 boards. The game is just phenomenal. It's already hit my dime list for this year. Dime list means 10 or more plays. I play it with kids all the time, 8 players. They love it. I've never seen it fail, and I'm so thrilled to hear that Avalon Hill is going to release a new version of Robo Rally, which, when talking to Richard Garfield, same guy who designed it, he told me that it should be compatible with the other versions. Tremendous, exciting. If you can get Robo Rally, buy it.
Yeah.
Some people don't like it.
I like it.
But if you make a small, tight, compact race with crisscrossing paths, it's just so much fun. I really enjoy this game.
Speaking of, I forgot a question that we got asked, and it was a guy on the miniatures page. He wanted to know what were Euro games.
Oh.
Because I guess we just assumed too many times.
Yeah, most people know what Euro games are, but if you don't know...
Well, see, because I posted the talk show that we do here on some of the wargaming sites that I go to. And a lot of these wargamer guys, they just aren't familiar with the terminology, I guess.
Yeah, Euro games is kind of a name. We use it. Some people call them German games. Some people call them designer games.
What was that fancy title you guys
Some people
thought
call
of over
them
on
TGOO, these games of ours.
The evil site that you belong to.
Yeah, well, the site that must not be named.
The site that I will never join.
He said it, folks. You heard him.
I will never join.
Anyway, so these games, they're mostly concentrated in Germany. For some reason, Germany is a hotbed of board games. They have an award there, the Spiel des Jahres, which is going to be awarded this June or July. I think it's June.
Weird titles on the list this year.
They had a bunch of nominees. Joe and I are about to talk about what we think about the nominees. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, see, we don't know anything about any of them.
It's politics, man.
Well, it's not just that. It's just that I haven't had a chance to play.
They gave it to an American game last year, so they're going to have to...
I don't think I played any of them. So, but we will fix that situation before
Yes, we will fix it.
But anyway, so Germany has all these games. These games don't involve dice. They're not rolling the dice and moving around the board. They're games where there's usually a victory point track. You're trying to get victory points. You're moving tokens. They're strategic. Everyone has an equal chance. You usually have a chance to win all the way throughout the game. They have beautiful components, lots of wood. They're really neat, nice games.
Everyone holds hands and sings Kumbaya at the same time.
Calling them Euro games was true 5 years ago. It still is today. American market is nothing compared to them, but there are American games such as Days of Wonder, Fantasy Flight games, Face-to-Face, Plenary games.
You're not going to name them
So
all.
many. Yeah, I'm trying not to miss anybody. Dancing Eggplant.
Who gives us money?
The new Your Moves games, which
we wanted for a title, but
we were going to use for a title, but I didn't want to use the same name as a game.
Unless they
company.
give us a kickback or something.
But there's so many board games that are being made in America now. I think the tide is shifting. We'll see. But that's what Euro games are. Now we're done with our
Kangaroo.
It's time to move on to the sad turkeys. Your first. Okay, my turkey. We'll start off with something. I'll just whip one that everyone else likes to whip, and that's Yahtzee. Okay.
You're so controversial, Tom.
Oh.
Why did you say Monopoly?
Well, no, because I don't dislike Monopoly. If you play Monopoly with the official rules, with no free parking money, I like it. But we'll get into Monopoly another day. Yahtzee. I wanted to talk about Yahtzee because I think the idea of theme in the idea of strategy in Yahtzee is sometimes made by people. It's just incorrect. Yahtzee is all about maximizing your chances, and not even that. I should say that because I like games where you maximize.
Yahtzee!
Yahtzee's just luck. That's all there is.
You know the history of the game,
luck,
right?
luck.
You know the history of the game?
Go ahead, tell us the history.
Didn't you know the history? Didn't we read this somewhere? It's another game. It was like a couple old people on a boat or on a yacht, and they made a dice game.
I think you just made it.
No, seriously. There's
whatever.
this elderly couple, and they played a dice game on their boat with all their friends, all their high society friends.
You're making that
okay.
up.
If anyone can disprove or prove this to me, then we'll give you some geek gold. All right, Tom will give you geek gold because I have none. But listen,
give it all away.
There's this elderly couple, and they played this dice game on their yacht, and their friends with all their friends, and their friends said you should market this, and so they marketed it as Yahtzee. Fact or fiction, people?
I don't believe that. That makes me like
I'm telling you, it's the
even
truth. I'm
less
sure it's
now.
the truth.
But there's so many versions. There's triple Yahtzee,
Casino Yahtzee.
Casino Yahtzee. Is that the one you have, right?
Yeah, I have Casino Yahtzee.
I have, I don't know.
Monica, my wife Monica likes Yahtzee, so Monica, I love Yahtzee. It's my favorite game. I'll play it with you anytime.
Ultra Yahtzee. Here's the thing. I liked Yahtzee. I liked it a lot as a kid. And then they came with the electronic version where you could keep playing and playing. And then I suddenly realized that it was just all luck. Luck.
What's the
It
card
wasn't even
version?
fun.
I like Kismet. You like Kismet?
Same thing. Same thing, different name.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Same garbage.
Anyway. All right, my turkey. Give me the turkey sound. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
We gotta have this. We gotta have the sound bites. Now my turkey, believe it or not, go figure. My turkey is Puerto Rico. Yes, world, listen to me. Puerto Rico, ready for the backlash?
Let the flame emails come in now.
Puerto Rico. Now let me give you the background here. The first time I played Puerto Rico was with Tom. It was one of the first Euro games. I think it was one of the first Euro game I ever played.
It was one of the first Euro games we both played.
Yeah,
I bought it because it was the #1 ranked game on Board Game
Right,
Geek.
and so I thought, I came in optimistically, and I thought, well, I'll try it. And I thought, oh, this is clever. Clever. Right? And that basically sums up 95% of Euro games in my book.
Oh, my goodness.
They're clever. And I played it, and afterwards I thought, that wasn't, what? And what are these little...
Just trying to shut you up about your...
What was those little brown disc? What are those supposed to be?
That's the controversy topic. We're like trying to avoid that.
All right, anyway. But the whole thing, I was like, I don't know. And then we played it. I played it again, and the second time I played it, I was like, it's obvious what everyone has to do every turn. It's obvious. Okay, you did this, I have to do that. All right, she did this, I do this. And it was just like the game played you. There's nothing. I don't know. And maybe it's a little bit of a backlash. I'm the kind of guy who roots for the underdog. Everyone, Puerto Rico, there's bronze statues to it somewhere in Germany or wherever, But I'm sorry, it's a turkey.
Well, I don't think it's as bad as Joe says. I liked the game. I gave it a 7. I thought it was a good game, not a great game, but a good game. I'm just pleased that I actually played the designer at Origins, Andrea Seifert.
Speaking of him,
I beat him. Oh yeah!
I saw him there, and I was like, ooh, no, not really. Actually, I didn't care. I wanted to go talk to some of the old Wargamer guys that were there. But I like that other game of his, Manhattan, right? That's him,
yeah.
Same guy. I really like Manhattan. Go
He
figure.
crushed
So
it.
every dog has his day, I guess. he did
I don't know how to respond to that. Okay.
Anyway, so now you know what I think about Puerto Rico.
All right. Our last section of the show
Oh, it's clever.
is our mini reviews. We'll each do a mini review of the game. Yes, my reviews online are, some people call them anything but mini, and the game I'm going to be talking about today, World in War,
I am Tom Vassal. I
is
am
not
a Borg.
is already. I already wrote a review of it online, but Joe and I played it, and so I thought I'd give him a chance to stick some comments in. World in War. If you like Axis and Allies, I don't know whether to tell you that you'll like World and War, because World and War basically...
No, maybe.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Because it's a really light game. It's like Risk and X and Allies in a sense, but it uses a totally different...
You have to remind
totally
yourself
different
the
thing.
whole time you're playing it's not Axis and Allies.
Right, because you'll be like, I can't kill my battleship, but you can because a battleship only costs one
A battleship's
economic
the same
point.
as an infantry guy.
Basically, the reason I like it is because you put your forces on this combined arms chart, and you roll a die, and that's how many units you kill. But you can only kill units if you have the units required to kill those units. For example, you can only kill planes if you have anti-aircraft guns or other planes. You can only kill infantry if you have tanks, planes, or
It's
infantry.
not historical because, it was an anti-tank gun can't be killed by, you can't have a tank take on an anti-aircraft gun, or you can't,
But regardless of the historicalness of it, and they wrote 2 pages in the rules about how it was historical, blah, blah, blah. But the game system really worked well. I thought it played well. We were engrossed the whole time. It was fun. It wasn't the most fun game I've ever played.
That's because I kicked your tail.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it regardless. Joe beats me in almost all war games, so that's not a thing. I thought it was a better system than Axis and Allies. Not to take anything away from Axis and Allies. It's a great game. It's a more complex game, Axis and Allies, but this game was so streamlined. It felt really easy to play, clean cut. World and War. It's made by a company from
Norway? Finland?
Scandinavia somewhere.
somewhere
in Scandinavia, which is unusual because most war games come from America.
Yeah.
And well, how do I wish I could turn off Joe's mic here.
Yeah,
but,
right.
So I highly recommend World of War. Check it out. You'll like it. It's a good game. I think I give it an 8 out of 10. A good, elegant system. Tremendous system.
Moving on to something interesting. All right.
War game, man.
Yeah, okay, you're right. It had cool little tanks in it. All right. My mini review is a game called Lightning Midway. I mentioned it briefly in my card games. It's a game that's put out by Decision Games. Decision Games, a lot of war gamers criticize them for having some crazy rules and some messed up games and yada yada yada. And when I was at Origins, I didn't have an overly good time with the guy at Decision Games, but he wasn't a bad guy. That's a whole other story. Anyway, I got this game in Lightning Midway. It was kind of pricey, not too bad, but it's just a really neat card game. It's high quality production. The cards are nice. It's got 1 page of rules. I'm looking at them right now. The rules, you got to play it a few times through to get it because the rules are kind of confusing. At least they were for me. But once you get the rules down, it's a really fun game. You're basically refighting the Battle of Midway. You got the Japanese player and the American player. You got your aircraft carriers. You have you put your aircraft carriers on one side. Your cards laid out in front of you, between the 2 players. Then you have objectives that come up, and you're trying to launch your planes. You can either launch your fighters for defensive purposes, or you can launch your fighters just like in the historical actual Battle of Midway. So you have to weigh these decisions, and your opponent reacts. And I just really like it. It was a really, really interesting game. For the price, you can't beat it.
I have no comment. I haven't played it.
The D-Day, they have a D-Day version. I heard it's pretty good. But at Origins, people were pretty much saying that Midway is a better game than D-Day, so I took the Midway. I'll probably pick up the D-Day game soon, just because I like this game so much. I'll probably get the other one. That's Lightning.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Well, what basically is going on now is that we are pretty much coming to the end of our show.
Already?
I don't even know the time length of our show.
Next time we should put up a little clock,
Yeah, that probably would help us.
so we have no idea how long we've been talking.
Well, please, your feedback is important to us. You can tell us the technical stuff is useful to us, but more importantly, we'd like to know what you think of our content. Do you like the little segments we have, the top 10, the questions, kangaroos and turkeys, the breaking news, Joe's Soldier, my rant, kangaroos and turkeys, and we really need audio clips. I don't want to keep playing these stupid movie ones. I would like customized ones. That would be really neat. We're not really.
We got. We'll sing. Let's sing it.
I forget what we're gonna sing.
I don't know. The top 10.
The top 10.
With Joe and
whatever.
Tom.
Okay, I thought about having a church choir sing it and then record it, but
Yeah. Right.
well, okay. But if you can make them, I mean, there's some people out there who are really creative. Go ahead and make those for us. Send us questions, stupid questions that
Speaking
you'd
of
like to
stupid
know
questions,
about.
I want to apologize. The Fox. What's his name? Fox.
Yeah, well, I missed that. What was he
I
talking about?
said he had a stupid question last week, and then he said something on Board Game Geek to me about it, tongue in cheek, of course. But hey, stupid question's a stupid question. I'm sorry.
What was the stupid question?
I don't remember. It was one of those geek questions, and it was just I said it was a stupid question. I don't remember what it was.
Well, did you answer it?
I don't think so. I did. It was too stupid to answer.
Well, props to Board Game Geek, props to Consim World, props to the miniatures page.
I see Dirk and
all the people from those
audio snippets too.
Yeah, I know, but we don't want the same. We just want things that introduce our different segments.
They're stealing our ideas.
So, kids from all over the world are sending Cheerio messages.
Anyway, so we're not in a competition with Geek Speak.
No, Geek Speak is a great show. We cannot get the
we're not nearly as good as them or as experienced as them.
What we're trying to do here is a show where we're going back and forth with war games and just talking about games. I played probably 1,000 different games. Joe's probably come close to the same number.
I play a lot of games too. But.
So we have a lot of useless information that we like to share with the world. So we like to tell you about it, and we like to maybe make it humorous sometimes. We'll have some guests on, but our guests will not be famous. It'll be like Sam, our friend.
Sam or Shin. We have our Korean friend come.
Yeah, well, and maybe sometime, if we're really lucky, we'll be able to get someone from a board game cafe or something.
We'll both be at Origins. Maybe we'll do some snippets from Origins.
Yes, we'll see that. So until next week, we'll have another top 10 list. I think our top 10 list for next week is the top 10 games with the best components. And those should be some interesting.
We differ on that.
We do. But
Tom likes the Puerto Rico little brown disc. It's your favorite component, right?
Aye. Well, for now, this is Tom Vassell.
And Joe Stedman, who is not a werewolf.
And we're signing off. We'll see you next week for Panzers and
Pieces, or, well, eventually the Dice Tower. I hope you enjoyed listening to episode 2. There was a lot of, obviously, sound quality issues there, but let me tell you a little bit about how we recorded this. See, our church at the time was using something that recorded straight from the microphones at the church to just basically straight to the computer. It translated to a real media file, something I would never even think about today. But it was a straight recording. It had play and stop. So we had to press play, and we couldn't pause or anything. We just went, and we hoped it worked. This was before I learned about Audacity and Audition and some of the other programs I use today. So if we made any mistakes, we just lived with them, and we hoped. Now, it wasn't too much later that I actually started editing stuff out. But at this point, I wasn't editing at all, and obviously wasn't editing the sound quality. I would have been able to get rid of the background hum a little bit better had I known more about it then. Interesting enough, though, some of our most popular segments started even here, the turkeys and kangaroos. A lot of people enjoyed that, and we enjoyed doing those. Our questions is really nothing today like what it was then. Then we went on and on and on with questions, and we had a good time with it. Maybe it's something we should bring back sometime. Did you notice there when I talked about the person who wheedled me out of my Darth Vader card? That was Sam Healy. Go figure. Our card games, I really find that interesting, those top 10 card games. I would really change that list today, and it's only been a little over 2 years, but I played so many really good card games. In fact, maybe you'll hear a top 10 card games sometime in the near future, especially since we should get Sam's. Anyway, that's about it for this show. Just a couple things before we shut down. First of all, don't forget you have 1 week left to enter the Box of Golf contest. It's a really great game. If you enter it, all you have to do is email us at thedicetower@gmail.com and tell us your top 5 games. Your top 5 games of the year 2006. I've gotten some really good comments. It's interesting to see what games have been getting votes, although I'm really not surprised with most of the games. There's a few that I'm surprised that people actually enjoy. Even if you played one game, you can enter. If you say, I haven't played any games from 2006, email me and we'll see what we can do. And so we're looking forward to that. Also, you may have noticed, it's kind of obvious, but Days of Wonder is sponsoring this show, and they'll be sponsoring some of our other shows in the future. But we're willing to have sponsors from anyone. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, just give me an email at thedicetower@gmail.com, and we'll work something out. Folks, we're not selling out here. If someone sponsors our show, that does not mean we're not going to say nothing negative about their games. It doesn't mean that we're making money hand over fist. We're making not tremendously. We're helping offset the cost of the show slightly by doing this. And I really struggled with doing this, but we figured that the sponsoring was a fairly inintrusive way to allow companies to get out the word about their games into our podcast. So I hope that you even find some interesting games out of it. So look forward to us next week. We'll be talking about our top 10 expansions. We have some other interesting things in the work. I got interviews lined up. I have some really good contests coming up too, besides this box of golf. So stay tuned. And that's about it for this time. I really enjoyed listening to this stuff again, even though I cringe at some of it, and I hope that you had just a little bit of fun too. This is Tom Bassel, signing out.
Thanks for listening to The Dice Tower. Join us next week for episode 104, in which we talk about our top 10 game expansions. We'd also like to thank Days of Wonder for their sponsorship of this episode of The Dice Tower. Days of Wonder makes great games for just about everyone. From the Spiel des Jahres winning Ticket to Ride, which is the perfect gateway game to get anyone involved in gaming, to the medieval epic fantasy game Battle Lore. Please visit them at www.daysofwonder.com.